Hey, peace, guys. Art Morrison III here with another episode of The Third Degree. And I want to break down a lot of my clients and even just friends, partners, they're always asking, you put so much focus on building a brand and building your audience. And I want to break down why. It's this little thing that I call the 1% rule. And, basically 1% represents conversions. Okay, so 1%, if you guys are in business, 1% conversion is really low. For high ticket items, 2 to 3% is pretty good. For lower ticket items, 10% to 15% is pretty good. That's like the lowest of the high, if that makes sense. Anything above is like where you want to be as a business. But I like to do all my numbers with 1% because now I have a lot of room for error, especially when we're testing new marketing strategies and campaigns, right? So with that being said, I want to show you 3 different scenarios of an audience and why the audience is super important, especially when we're applying the 1% rule. So if you have 10,000, I'm going to call them followers, right? If we're talking about social media. But this could be an actual audience, right? It could be attendees to an event, which might be like, the event could be an Instagram Live. It could be a Zoom call. It could be a seminar, right? It could be, what is it called when you're in an auditorium? An assembly, right? Any audience, you might be in front of 10K people, right? At the end of whatever value you bring, whether it's a speech or, whatever the heck you're bringing to the table, you teach a lesson, okay? And this is usually free. That's kind of the point that I'm going with here. This is a free, that audience is free, right? 10K followers on IG, they're your followers for free. They don't pay to be your followers, right? So this part's free. If we convert 1% of that 10,000, we're looking at 100 people. Okay, so now we're down to 100 people. We want to convert them to some sort of like middle ticket item. So this might be like a private event, right? With only 100 seats or 500 seats or whatever. And you might get 100 people there. So this could be an event. This might be a small product, right? Something less than $100, depending on your kind of business, $100 to $300, right? So we converted to 100 people, but ultimately, if we convert them again, 1% of 100 is one person, and they buy like a high ticket item, which let's say is like one-on-one coaching or like, I don't know, bro, whatever your high ticket item is for your business, right? If you, they supersize the meal if you own a restaurant. I don't know. One person. But let's say this high ticket item now is $1,000. And this is like, I'll just put like private coaching. Okay, for $1,000. 10,000, 100 in here. So let's say this was $100, just to be simple, right? So that means 1 times 100 or times 1,000, we made $1,000. Not bad, right? 100 people spent $100. We made, what's that, 10,000? That's actually pretty damn good, honestly. This really should be like a $10 event, but we'll go with 100. And then up here, this was free. So the whole campaign made us $11,000, right? We made $11,000. Now, this is from one campaign, made us $11,000, and you have 10,000 followers. Now, not to downplay anyone, there's not a lot of small businesses starting up, which is like who I cater to, that have 10,000 followers online or get in front of an audience of 10,000 people. So 10K is still a strong number, right? So I'm challenging all you guys, if you want to make 11,000 on all your campaigns with 1% conversions, which is really low, get up to 10,000 followers. Get in front of audiences of 10,000 people, which is a ton of people. And you can do this by doing like joint lives, go live with other businesses that might have 10,000 if you only have 1,000 right now. Paid shout outs, other ways you can get in front of this many people. But that number is important. This is the most important number actually, outside of the conversion rate, which you can't always control. Like right now it's the coronavirus. So your conversions, you can't necessarily control if it's 1% or 20% conversion, right? Like you kind of can, but there's unforeseen circumstances. So if we're talking about 1%, which is a super low number, we want to do numbers that we can't lose. And that's why we're doing 1%. So here's the interesting part with the 1%. If you had 1 million followers, okay? Or an audience of 1 million online or in person. I don't know how you would talk to 1 million people in person. You need some sort of, I don't know, TV, online, whatever. TV is another good one, right? Viewers. Anyway, if we had 1 million, let me get my calculator out just so we have no mistakes. If you have 1 million, you built your audience to 1 million, which isn't a lot these days, surprisingly. You could zoom in on the camera. And we got 0.01, that's 1%. That's 10,000 people. So now we'll keep the same prices, 10,000 times $100, right? You made $1 million on $100 event or product, which, $100 is not a lot. It could be a sneaker, it could be, you could sell a t-shirt for $100. I just bought a pair of pants for $100, right? So just from having 1 million and converting at 1%, you made 10,000 times 100 equals, and you made $1 million. And then 1%, so now we gotta divide here by 100, because that was the price of the product. We back to our 10,000 audience. Now we converted another 1% on a high ticket item. We said to this audience, hey, if you like this product, you're gonna love this next product for $1,000, right? So times 0.01, that's 100 people. 100 people, let me write it down first. Now we got 100 people times $1,000 product, which gives us $100,000. $100,000. And this is a concept I'm doing this third degree about because I didn't even understand this concept, right? I understood the concept, but not the importance of that initial starting point, because all this stuff, the email marketing, the strategy and all that is very important, but this part is super important because, like, you can look at me now, I have 14,000 followers on I use my personal page, for example, and we have all of this great strategies in email marketing and advertising, but we're still only 14,000 followers. So even with good conversion rates, we're not giving ourselves the opportunity because our audience isn't as big as it could be, or because I didn't invest as a CEO or the boss of the company into growing an audience. So anyway, we had $100,000. So let's add it all up. 1 million plus 100,000 is 1.1 million. Versus, what was it before? 11,000. All because, and I'm sure everyone would rather that number, all because of the audience size, right? Investing in growing your audience, the way you do this is by building a brand, which we could talk about in a little bit, but really just all from audience side. This is bad conversions. We did these calculations with 1% conversions, right? So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't invest in quality marketing campaigns or a marketing manager or whatever techniques you want to apply. Like, yeah, you want to invest there, but it does start with here. You can have all the best of these strategies, but if you only have, like I said, forget 10K. If you got 1K followers, or you're in front of an audience of 1,000 people, which is a lot of people, right? And you convert only 1% of them, 1% of 1,000 people is 10 people, right? 10 people buy an event for $100, you made $1,000 lousy dollars, right? And then 1% of 10 is not even a whole human. That means you made no sales here, right? So anyway, I want to give one example, and then we'll go home. So I use my Kim Kardashian example. Kim K might have 5 million followers. I think she got more than that, but I'm just using that. What she got?
Like 160 million.
Really?
Something like that. 100-something million.
Maybe Kim K not a good example, but whatever. We got Kim K, we got Art, and then we got Coca-Cola, to be clear, right? So Art has his little 10K, he's hype. Kim got 5 M's, and Coca-Cola might only have 5 M's on IG, but worldwide, right, let's say they got 250 million. They've been around 3 times Kim K's lifetime, right? So if we run these same numbers, I don't even have to do the math. If Kim K dropped a soda with the same flavor as Coca-Cola, so Kim K got her soda, I dropped the soda, Coca-Cola got the soda, and they're all the same exact flavor, same taste, obviously different branding. The branding don't even matter at this point, right? And we all run a crappy 1% campaign for our soda. All day, every day, Coca-Cola is going to make more money because they've reached more people and they've built a brand where over 200, it's really bigger than this. I'm using small numbers. But I'm honestly probably, it might even be 1 billion people will recognize the Coca-Cola logo if they seen it. If they seen that red and white, probably 1 billion is recognizing it, right? So you could slap Kim K's face on the soda can, right? I could Art Marson III soda you to death on IG. Coca-Cola all day is going to make more money simply because they have a larger audience and a larger brand. So it's really important to build your brand and build your audience so that you can have, like, yo, if we're converting here 2 to 3%, we converting here 10+%. Yeah, we really eating in with these numbers, but we do our calculations with 1%. So that also motivates you to build your audience even larger. If I did these calculations with 50% conversions, then it's like, well, I only need 20,000 followers. I'm good. We'll make our money. That'll pay all my bills, 20,000 followers. But by doing them with the 1% rule, 1% conversions, that keeps me and my company and my staff focused on investing time, energy, and effort into growing our audience from 10 to 100 to 100,000, right? And ultimately getting to that 1 million followers, and then still continue to grow, understanding that the larger, and I'm saying followers because it's just, social media everyone can relate to, but just getting in front of that many people at 1% conversions, you can find yourself with a multi-million-dollar company. Well, this is a singular million, but you get what I'm saying. Multi-million-dollar company simply by building your brand. That's the third degree for today. The importance of building your audience and building your brand. I hope you guys enjoyed and got some gems out of that. This was a little longer than usual, but again, I hope you enjoyed. Peace.